This video contains information that could be sensitive to certain viewers. Inde indlela bakuthi ayinamona kude nentaba zakweBethlehem lemilambo eziphumelela emlanjeni azinokuhlukisa nalendlela. Let's take it back to the yesterday. Let's take it back to the Soweto. Dust latching onto your sister's skin. Her sweat, a pot of bubbling samp and the village heat. Let's take it back to utamkhulu nomalume beqela ligusha ebuhlantini. Besela beshushu ebemnandeni. Let's take it back to the good word. How absurd is it that with all the gifts given to us by Mother Earth, we still can't respect her worth? The birth of a nation starts and ends with her. Let's take it back today. It's been 48 summers and 48 winters since the 1976 call to action. The agitated agitating the agitators. Pens turned guns. Book bags turned bulletproof vests. Shoelaces turned noose. The playground has always been grounds for political warfare. For the black child wears war like Cape Town cosplays democracy and drinks from the belly of gentrification and black fear. Let's take it back today. In this video, we'll be joined by two special guests who are going to be telling us their personal stories and experiences with the racial discrimination in the 21st century's modern society. Would you say you've ever witnessed or experienced discrimination amongst your peers?
In Botswana, it was more of a minimum population. We were very small. There were more black people than white people, so I really didn't like.
Could you tell me, have you ever not been chosen for something because of your race?
I don't think that there's any time that I specifically was not chosen for something because of my race. There have been times, though, that I have experienced situations that now, when I reflect back on those situations, I realize now that, oh, I felt uncomfortable.
Would you say you've ever witnessed or experienced discrimination amongst your peers since you've been in South Africa?
I have.
Could you please share one or two experiences?
Into only girls, private Catholic school, IEB sort of Model C, I guess. The system, it's not built for black girls coming through. So obviously there were a lot of microaggressions that we as the black learners had to go through. One of the bigger ones was the topic of hair. Hair were in our code of conduct, we had a policy on hair where you could only dye your hair one shade up from your natural color. And so then for the black girls, it was translated into, for your braids, then you can only go up one color from your natural hair in braids. However, obviously when a white girl who's brunette comes to school the next day and is blonde and it looks natural, no one says anything, but we all know she was brunette the weekend before. And then when a black girl comes to school and her braids are a caramel color instead of a dark brown or black color, then it's a whole issue.
Have you ever experienced discrimination or your peers since you've come to Cape Town?
I had this one experience with a friend who's no longer a friend of mine. We went to Signal Hill. It was me and 3 other white friends. And we were in a car and he was driving. We got to Signal Hill and we were all laughing, all joking around. Until he said, "Why are you people like this?" I'm like, "Bro, why are you saying you people?" And then I find out he goes on and says, "What, do you want me to say you?" And I was like, wow. I was taken aback, It kind of took me off guard because also considering the fact that he said the N-word shocked me. Now we get to my place and, you know, I try to deal with the whole situation, like keep quiet and console myself because I also don't want to go into the stereotype of black people overreacting and stuff. So I keep my composure, I keep it sane until I talk to him and I'm like, please, I want to know why you had to say the N-word. You could have said the N-word instead of saying the word. And the next thing he told me, don't get so sensitive. And I'm like, what do you mean, why am I being sensitive? What do you mean, don't get so sensitive? Then he went on, as a friend of mine went out to Spa, came back. He came back and saw that we were all arguing for a second. And then he, the white friend, came up and said, oh no, don't worry. He's just reacting because of his ancestors.
How do you deal with racist, sarcastic remarks passed on to you?
One of the first times when I was still getting introduced to a lot of the people in the group, because it was a big group, they said, oh, you're actually really nice, which on the surface I feel like sounds like, oh, someone's just saying that you're a nice person. But I think that as a black woman, and then the subtext that carries, and like how the world perceives black women as like more intimidating than they actually let on. Actually nice, what do you mean by I'm actually nice, you know? As black women, we know that the standard for us is set higher. We always have to perform better, we always have to look better, we always have to show up better than everyone else. So obviously that's ingrained in the way that we are through our childhoods and everything. So that's just how we show up in society. And a lot of the comments that were, you know, thrown around to me were like, oh yeah, no, Aura's so high maintenance. Like, I don't know what her boyfriend is gonna, I don't know how her boyfriend's gonna handle that.
Let's all learn to love one another, to hold each other's hands, to share the agape love, the brotherly and the sisterly love.